Well, I don't see that. Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
I think we are. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think
It
we
looks
are
like,
too.
yeah.
Well, this is awesome. It looks like we are finally live. I'm so grateful. Carol Dockum here with Beautiful Faces Going Places.com, Women's Success Network. And we are continuing with our Business Spotlight series and welcoming our newest success team member here at Beautiful Faces Going Places, Amita Ghosh. She is a licensed therapist with Resolve Counseling and Consulting. Amita's areas of expertise and practices in couples and relationship counseling, EMDR for trauma, anxiety, and depression, and weight loss through mindfulness. She offers therapy for individuals, couples, and families. And she's also a certified yoga instructor. And a little fun fact about Amita, which I absolutely love, is that she and her husband are now taking Italian lessons. And I believe they're on their second level of Italian. So I'm so looking forward to practicing my Italian with Amita. So welcome, Amita.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am so excited to be part of this team. I just know that we are going to be doing wonderful things and we're going to be changing the face of women connecting and women's network throughout the world. So I can't wait for all that to happen.
I know. I'm super thrilled and charged up that you're here with us and part of our network. And I know you and I had a great coffee morning. I think it was in February sometime, and really saw this vision of beautiful faces going places and really impacting women in other cities, states, and in other countries as well. So,
Absolutely.
and that's through education, information, resources, so that we can empower, not only ourselves, but our families' lives, right? Our families and our
Family, other women,
community.
I mean, we know now that when we help a woman, that actually the help that goes from her to her children and then others multiplies. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be part of this because it is very much in line with my own personal passion and values. So
I
um,
love that.
yes, yes. So do you want me to say a little bit about my business or how would you like me to?
Absolutely. I'd love for you just to share a little bit about your background and how you got into counseling and therapy and your passion for really helping build relationships. And because
Absolutely.
it is so important that we develop skills so that
Yeah,
we have loving, fantastic relationships. Because, if you're not
right.
happy in your home, whether it's your personal family relationships or relationships in the workplace,
Yeah,
um, yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
that's
Absolutely. So let me start, several steps back. So I'm originally from India. I grew up there. And another fun fact, I think I had mentioned this to you, is that I used to be a flight attendant and I used to travel all over the world before I came to the US to pursue my graduate education in psychology and counseling psychology. I've always been very interested in trying to figure out why people do what they do and,
yeah.
what sort of goes on inside of our heads that makes us do what we do. And that was many years ago. I got my training. My first master's was in University of Louisville in Louisville, Kentucky. And then I moved to this area in 2001. And started working with children at first. So I did some school psychology and slowly moved over to just working with adults. And for the last several years, working with relationships has become my biggest passion. So, like you said, we are human beings, are social creatures. We don't exist in isolation.
Right.
And as much as we love being around each other, it can also cause some conflicts and some friction. So learning how to get along with each other, whether that's in a romantic relationship or whether that is in a family relationship, friendship, or even coworkers, it's very important because how we treat other people then sort of comes back to how they treat us. And the only part that we have control over is what comes out of our mouths and our behavior. That's the only piece we have control over. Many people think, you know, if only my spouse would change something, or if only my boss would do something different, my life would be so much better. But we know that that doesn't happen. You know, we don't have a magic wand and we cannot change how other people act, but
Right.
we do have control over ourselves, and we can change our behaviors, our actions, and magically that starts changing other people's responses. So, you know, I just think it's fascinating that we can do that, and we can all have really good, positive relationships, and we can learn from our relationship struggles. You know, relationship struggles can be a pathway to our own personal development and growth, our own spiritual growth, because the more we are in a relationship, the more we start seeing our own blind spots, you know, our own sort of weaknesses and areas that we need to grow and develop in. If you're open to that idea, if you're open to
Right.
changing, and then that can allow you to change and grow and become a better version of yourself.
Right. No, I absolutely love that you just shared all of that. I mean, I've been married for over, I'm not sure how many years, 34, 35, you know, for a very long time. And, you know, relationships can be, you know, difficult and challenging. And you've got your highs and your lows and your ups and your downs. And even with your, you know, children and coworkers and I think it's only recently that I've come to realize that it is when you start to realize that you don't have control over other individuals, and other individuals cannot make you happy, right? That happiness really comes from within. And the only thing that
Right,
you can
absolutely.
control is how you react to someone or respond. And yes, I've noticed that after coming to that realization that my relationships and friendships and have just improved, have improved
Absolutely.
upon. But
Yes.
at what I have a question, but at what point does someone come to realize that? Do you know what I mean? Because it certainly doesn't happen like overnight, night, or um, you know, what at what point does someone come to realize like, oh my gosh, if I know I can't change that person, you know, and I'm not happy with their behavior or the way they're acting towards me, you know, at what point do you say, you know, it's not me, it's, you know what I mean, it's them, or I've got
Right,
to change
right.
the way I
So,
respond and
you
react to
know,
them.
yeah, so I think that in romantic relationships, you know, what we know is that people are initially attracted to the physical part. Then they're attracted to, you know, how they make you feel, you know, how they treat you and all of those things. But the truth is we are attracted to a fantasy that we've developed in our own minds about that person and about the relationship. So it depends, you know, for different relationships it's probably takes different length of time, but you know, at some point we start realizing that what we fell in love with or what we thought our life was going to be like is
Mhm.
not really how it's turning out to be.
Right.
And so at that point, most people are struggling within their own self, trying to figure out, you know, what did I do? Did I do something? Did they do something? What's wrong? So I think most people who are willing to look at their lives and their marriages as a process and you know, sort of it's going to grow and change, are willing to come to therapy and figure it out. Either people will start with maybe talking to friends and family members, you know, then they might go to some books, they might read some books about it. And if none of that helps, they might then say, you know, I'm really unhappy and I don't like the way my life is going. I don't like the way my marriage is going. I don't like the way my relationship's going. Something's got to change and I don't know what to do. Because I think most times it's just human nature to look at the other person and focus on their flaws. Most of
Right.
us don't naturally look at ourselves and go, oh, you know, I could improve on this area, because we just don't. We just think, I'm pretty good. I don't need to change. So,
Right.
we tend to look at the other person and go, oh, they need to change. I need to take them to therapy. But the truth is, once you come into therapy, I mean, at least the way I work is that there is no one person who is at fault. I mean, it takes two people to fall in love. It takes two people to make it work. And it
Right.
takes people to not make it work. So, one person wanting to make it work is not going to make it work. So that's the other thing that I ask couples is that, are both of you wanting to improve this relationship? Are you both committed to doing what it takes to improve it? Because if one person's not interested, it's just a waste of time and money. And I mean, I don't believe in spending time and money for them just so that they can just keep coming back when I know that there's no hope, right now. It's like you need to figure out what you want to do before we can start doing some serious work. So, yeah, I mean, I think people come to that point when they are in pain. And by pain, I mean, emotional pain, when they're facing some significant losses. Like if I don't fix this, my marriage could be over. If I don't fix my relationship with my child, I could lose my child. And so those kind of things, or I could lose my job. I could have a bad experience at work where I feel like everybody's out to get me and I just don't understand. And so, I could lose my job. So what's going on with me? What's going on in my life and my relationships that I can fix? So that's sort of when people typically show up.
When they hit the pain point.
Yes.
Yeah.
They hit the pain.
Right. Exactly. Yes. And they've said, okay, I've had enough. It's time to resolve this and or make things right. So yeah.
So you use the key word, resolve.
I know. I noticed that too. I'm like,
so resolve those issues.
Right. Why stay stuck and live in unhappiness? I mean, why prolong that process? It can get some help and some counseling and some direction and some, strategies and tactics to, live in a better, happier place. So, and I'm just thinking about, I've recently been thinking about with the whole shelter in place and the last 8 weeks. And, my heart has just been going out to families and moms and, mothers and fathers at home that are now trying to work from home, and also balancing the fact that they may have school-age children at home as well that are, trying to study and do schoolwork. The parents are trying to continue their virtual working from home. Plus you've got meals and, housework and how do you have that happiness under all in a constrained under one roof,
Right. So, unfortunately, we are still in an age where women tend to take up most of the responsibilities at home. Despite all our women's lib efforts and everything, now we have our housework and we also have other work. So I think it starts with having a good conversation with your partner and saying, my famous saying is, I'm not Superwoman. I teach all my clients to say that. Say it to yourself, I'm not Superwoman. Because when you try to think that you're Superwoman, you want to tackle everything. And when you're not able to, then you blame yourself. You think, oh, there's something wrong with me. No, there's nothing wrong with you, because none of us are really cut out to do it all. So ask for help, ask for help, talk to your partner and say, these things have to get done, and how are we going to tackle it? So again, communication is the key, and communication without anger or judgment, because sometimes that maybe we think, oh, he or she should know about this. They can see I'm doing it, but how come they can't help me? Well, maybe it's not even on their radar. It's not that they're purposely avoiding doing it. It's just not in their radar. They just see you doing it all the time. They assume you enjoy doing dishes, So, I mean, if you don't, then you need to talk to your husband or partner about it and say, I really don't like doing this. Maybe I'll trade off something else. Maybe I'll do homework instead, if you can do that. So communication is very, very important. And during this time, I would say even more communication is important because things are changing, from day to day.
Yes.
We are so dependent on technology, and technology doesn't always work. Kid who's supposed to be doing online schooling may not be able to do it because the computer crashed or something happened, power went out, everything's gone. So you have to be willing to communicate with each other more often, and also do it without agenda or judgment. And by agenda or judgment, what I mean is, so the judgment piece is, well, he should have known that. She should have done that. That's the judgment piece. So shoulds, whenever you start hearing the word should, that there's judgment there.
Right.
And the agenda piece is sometimes we want, again, like, controlling other people. So sometimes we want others to do certain things, and we sort of present situations in a way that it's going to force them to do something, or we say things that's going to force their hand. So try not to do that. Try to be open and honest about what your needs are. So, I am overwhelmed. I am tired. I need a break. Not because it's your fault, but it's because it's a difficult situation. And really always keeping in mind that you and your partner are a team. And you guys have each other's back. That is a very, very important piece to remember, that you have each other's back. If you guys didn't get together, the kids wouldn't arrive. And the whole thing, the whole show that we have here now wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the two of you. So, you have to keep that in mind and say, what can I do to help my partner? Is there something I need to do if I find that he or she is struggling? That they're really sort of overwhelmed, maybe they're getting a little snappy or something, ask, is there something I can do for you? Can I help you in some way so that you can take a break? Because maybe that's all that they need, is they just need a break, instead of saying, what's wrong with you? Why are you snapping at me? That what that does is that just puts them in a defensive mode, and that does not solve problems. So having some clear guidelines for your children, having some clear guidelines for how often you guys are going to communicate, and that it's okay to be flexible with things, that you need to change things around, and that, things are not going to be perfect, and that's okay.
I love that. I just love how it really boils down to communication, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And communicating when you are feeling overwhelmed or you're stressed out, and there's a lot of outside pressures, whether it's, especially right now, work and kids at home, and just the big huge change that we're all adapting to. So and the unknowns as well. So
And
ask for help.
Yes, absolutely. Ask for help. Maybe you have family nearby and your family can help you. And if you don't have family, maybe you just need a break and you ask your spouse for that. Just say, I just need a half an hour. I just need to be in the bedroom, I don't know, looking at Pinterest for half an hour, and then I'll be fine.
Something mindless, right?
Right, totally. And it's okay. Even though we are not right now, most of us are at home, we are not constantly being confronted by the COVID situation in our face, so to speak, because we're at home. But it is still something that most of us are carrying around in our brain. We are still in the background. We are still thinking about it. We are still wondering, is it safe to go to the grocery store? Should I, how should I touch the gas pump, when I pump gas? I mean, these things are there. We don't consciously think about it all the time, but it is at the back of our mind. And it does keep sort of taxing our emotions every day.
Yes. Well, you gave us some fantastic, really ways to be more insightful and communicate more, so that we all can live happy, healthy lives, and really get through this challenging time. So, Amita, if anyone is interested in working with you, Where's the best way for them to contact you?
Well, the best thing they can do is call me, and I am the only one who answers my phone. I don't have an answering service, so it's me. It's 1-859
Mhm.
391-1255. That's 859-391-1255. Or you can go to my website, which is consultamita.com. And another way would be I have a Facebook business page. It's called Resolve Counseling and Consulting LLC. It's on Facebook. And if you like it, then you could send me messages through there. And I also post little videos there once or twice a week about different topics just like this. And so, if you are not ready to come to counseling, I don't care whether you're my client or not, you can still like my page and get some tips there. So, and the other thing is I'm starting a women's mindfulness class, which is starting on the 21st, and it's free. So it's going to be online, and it's going to be 8 weeks. 21st of May till I think 9th of July or 8th of July, something like that. And it's going to be Thursdays from 12 to 12:30. So most people who are even working can probably take a half an hour, and you can use your phone to connect to us, or however you want to. And it is free. It's just my way of, sort of giving back a little bit, because people are struggling right now. And, why not? So I would love to do that. That is part of my training, part of my experience. So I would love to be able to give back and help somebody who is maybe struggling. And mindfulness is something that really helps us with dealing with anxiety and depression and things like that. So yeah, you can go to my Facebook page and find information about that, or go to my website, or just call me.
All right. Well, Amita, thank you so much. And this has just been a sheer pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing all the valuable information. And we look forward to sharing more of your trainings upcoming and throughout the year.
Absolutely.
And getting to know you more. And be sure to join her new mindfulness class starting on May 21st. And thank you so much, Amita.
Thank you. This was such a pleasure.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.